Welcome to the first annual Qualico Mixed Doubles Classic, brought to you from the Bow Valley in beautiful Alberta, Canada. Our host venues are the Banff Curling Club in the iconic Banff National Park, and the Canmore Golf and Curling Club in the gateway to the Canadian Rockies. The event is proudly sponsored by Qualico. We create what we believe in. The Malcolm. Experience Canmore's crown jewel. Vision Electronics. Your best price. And Bow Valley Credit Union. Growing together. The Qualico Mixed Doubles Classic. Up next. Welcome to the Qualico Mixed Doubles. We're here for our first live stream. Draw one of this inaugural event that's being held in Banff and Canmore at the two curling clubs. Exciting field we have here with international talent. We have 3 Olympic medalists. We've got many national champions and some great Canadian teams, and of course some local teams that are out to try and take down the world's best. In our feature match today, we have Scott Andrews and Gina Aitkens from the British curling team representing Scotland, playing against Brendan Bottcher and Bobby Sauder of the Saville Centre in Edmonton. We welcome you to the live broadcast, and throughout the broadcast we'll be giving you some information about the game and helping you understand how the teams are doing. We're down now to the final rock of the first end. Aitkens and Andrew have a soft little tap to lie to, and Bottcher and Sauder did a great job during the end controlling it, but in the end, Aiken and Andrews have a chance with the deuce to take the early lead. Aikens is really working hard. Andrews is really working hard, but it just over curled on them. Still, looks like yellow. Looks like yellow would have stole one in that end. Good start for Sauder and Bottcher. A little bit about our teams, as we said. Gene Aikens and Scott Andrews are from Scotland. They are this year's Scottish champions in mixed doubles. Gene actually played with Duncan Menzies because Andrews was hurt during that event, and the team of Aikens and Andrews will be representing Scotland going to Norway in April to play in the World Championships. There are two other teams from United Kingdom here today. We've also got Fowler and Fowler, who are the English team, and we've got another Scottish team that we'll see later on in the event. A great first shot by the Sauder Bottcher team, and a great response by Andrews and Aikens. From our vantage here, Aikens was aiming about middle of 12 on that, so we're getting some really good curl out here, allowing the players to be aggressive, but also get into the behind the guards and put a lot of rocks in play. As we look around at the other sheets that are ongoing, there seems to be lots of rocks in play, some really good ice. Another great shot, a great response by Sauder and Bottcher to Aiken and Andrews' last throw. It just shows you in this game of mixed doubles the excitement about having that center guard up and not being able to remove a rock until after till the fourth thrower in the end, the fourth rock that's being thrown. Creates a lot of offense and a lot of interesting angles for players to work with. And is one of the reasons this is quite an exciting game to watch. And another reason why it's never really over, because you have lots of opportunity to score early and late in the game. As we look across the other sheets quickly, on sheet number 4, where we have Park and Moscow playing against Peterman and Tran. Peterman and Tran stole one in the first end to take an early lead. Similarly, when we look over to sheet number 2 with Walker and Cruto and Ashton, Cruto and Ashton managed to steal 2 in the first end and take an early lead on that sheet. And finally, over on sheet 1, where we have a local team, Sarna and Graham out of the Canmore Club, playing against a world team from Norway. And they've managed to steal one as well in the first end. So it seems that across the board, steals were what made the difference in the first end, and a lot of excitement happening out there in the other games. So we see a lot of rocks in the house right now. As they often say, a rock in front of the house is a great guard, and a rock behind the tee line is a helper. And we can see Blue's got 2 rocks in really good position. The second one being frozen against the yellow one. Will make it hard to remove without moving a lot of yellow rocks as well. So Blue setting up to be in a good position here later in the end. We see Brendan's shot here is over curling from what they'd hoped. They'd hoped to come around softly and knock that Blue back and out. Instead, they've sort of staggered their guards on them, so giving Aitkens and Andrews a great chance to really secure that second point in there and leave a blocker for it. So we'll see what they decide to do, but the end setting up really well for the Scottish team. While we wait for this shot, just an interesting fact that many may not know, Gina Aitkens, who's out here playing, she's very much a mixed doubles specialist with a lot of event experience and championships to her name. She played last year actually with Bruce Mowat. Many will be familiar. They're a very successful Scottish team in the men's league this year. Bruce making that switch over, and Andrews now coming in to fill in and playing with Aiken, and it seems that they've not missed a beat, having quite a successful year this year. In October, they were runners-up at the Austrian Cup in Kitzenbuhl. They lost to the Canadian pair of the Desjardins, who are actually here at this event. And in November, the team, in only their 3rd event together, won the Sochi International Mixed Double Championship that was held in Russia. So in a very short time, this new team has done quite well. So we look forward to seeing what they can do here at this event. A great shot there. Absolutely great shot. Blue has got some tremendous positioning. It'll be very hard for Bottcher and Sauder to make any attempt at scoring. Right now, it's looking like they need to try and minimize the damage and hold the Scots to only 1 by, as Brendan was pointing out there, playing some sort of guard to avoid them getting any type of weight in to move the Blues around and push that yellow back to possibly squeeze out 2. So Scots are looking great for 1 and potential for 2, but Sauder and Bottcher have the chance here to try and stop that from happening. Here's Brendan working hard to get this over and across, trying to make sure they do a good block. Seems like it'll be extremely close to the spot they wanted to put it. Really nice throw by Bobby there. We are a little more familiar with Brendan and what he's done in the last while. He's had quite a successful go in the last few years, but Bobby herself is a very good curler as well. She's actually been to the Scotties. She went there with Newfoundland's Heather Strong team as an alternate. And she also teamed up earlier this year with Brendan Bottcher and won the Calgary Curling Club Mixed Double Cash Spiel. So a lot of talent in both these players and in both these teams. So we have a really good matchup today. So down to the last rock of the end. Scots have that. They're already sitting what would seem to be one from our vantage point, and trying to little come around tap to move things around and possibly get in there for a second score. Rock's well underway. Aitkens is brushing really hard. He's on, he's off, which is always a good sign. Nope. So looks like we'll have a tie game here after the second end. We've got Aitkens Andrews from the Scottish team and Sauder and Bottcher from Saville here in Edmonton, Alberta, and a great match so far. Lots of rocks in play and lots of great throws. This time we just want to take a moment and thank our sponsors. There's confirmation of Aiken and Andrews getting their one. So we're tied after two ends, and Aikens and Andrews are first up to throw. As in mixed doubles, we're using for our event this week position 2. So 4.5 feet in front of the center line top 12. There's a coin in the ice. We actually use loonies. And the rock placement for the guard will be on the hog line side of that loonie. And then, of course, the other rock in the house gets placed with the back of the rock touching the back 4. That's how we start every end. The team with hammer gets to place the rock at the back of the house. The team that throws first gets to have their rock placed, as we said, on the front side of the 4.5 feet coin that's out front marking the position. A really good throw here by Bobby Saunders. It did sail just a little bit too deep, giving an excellent chance for Aikens and Andrews specifically to draw one around and really get in a great spot on top of these in the top button, making it very difficult for Sauder and Bottcher to get it out. As this rock sails down to position, we look over and take a peek on sheet 4 where we have Park and Roscoe in the second end, who took 4. Again, just showing you in this mixed doubles that big numbers are something that can happen and happen more frequently than in the regular game. So 4-1, but Tryman, Peterman have the hammer, and they're underway on their on sheet 4. So Andrews rock sailing just a little bit deeper than they would want, and actually coming out the other side, giving advantage back to Bottcher and Sauder, who can get at this. Or softly come down and sit on. I think they're deciding to come down with a little bit more weight and make contact and hopefully flop a bit towards the center. But now they can get above the tee line in a great position with some backing. It looks like they've made the decision to use the soft shot and draw around into the rock. I'm sure for a lot of front ends on teams, it's fun to watch their skips or other skips out there sweeping. I'm sure Brendan's done a little practicing and got himself in shape to sweep all this week, because in the mixed doubles game, it's something that you do a lot of. With only 2 players, you're heavily involved in all shots, not just the strategy, the throwing, the sweeping. It's truly a team game, and there's 2 people who are involved all the time with every shot. So it'll be a good test for Brendan out here to sweep and sweep hard a lot. Bottcher coming up a little short here, leaving an opening for Andrews. Andrews coming up short again, so now Bottcher's coming down to try and remove this. Really nice shot. He cleared out some of the backing and left himself quite buried, so really good throw. There's a chance to come through and get at it, but really nice clearing by Bottcher. Shot's underway. It's got a ways to curl. Looks like they're going to take advantage of the extra weight to at least move the guard away to make the next shot a little easier. So an opening here for Sauder and Bottcher, who do have hammer this end and 1 rock in counting. Chance to put one on top, partly guarding the yellow rock, but also in behind cover and leave them counting 2 late in the end here. I should mention that Sauder, her 4 kids are here. Danica, Piper, Harlow, and Knox. They're here at the curling rink watching excitingly, and if we're lucky, we might get one of them on to say a few words to everybody in the next little bit. We'll see if we can't get someone out here. Here comes the shot. They're working really hard to bring it in and bury it behind the guard. From our angle here, it's fully exposed, so they can get to the full rock of that. Aitkens and Andrews, but still a good shot in terms of blocking off the path to get on top of the yellow. So certainly hard for Aitkens and Andrews, but they can come around that yellow and get into shot if they want. It will leave a nice raise back, of course. The other option is they could peel the top yellow back into the other yellow and leave themselves sitting one and removing the 2 yellow rocks. So we'll see what they've chosen here. Interesting, a lot of times that mixed doubles teams throw hits. They choose not to have anybody in the house holding the broom because the aim is a little more easier in terms of what you have to aim at. And you can use the advantage of the sweeper where jumping up and chasing the rock, it's a little harder. So it looks like they're going to play the hit on the top yellow and try and remove it as well as the back yellow based on having the sweeper up here and no one holding the rock in the house. Well, obviously I'm wrong. Won't be the first time or the last time. Looks like Gina's actually coming around, trying to play the draw around the top yellow and get into shot rock here and hopefully buried to a point that it's hard for Sauder and Bottcher to remove it. It's coming in nice, but looks like it might have a little more speed. Bottcher's trying to move it out. and really hard to tell, even from the overhead. It does look like he got in there for shot. And it is fully buried, so he's got 2 shots. They can draw around to it for their 1, or maybe have enough weight that they tap it back and sit 2. And that looks to be what they're going to call. Exact same shot, a little more weight and a little tighter to the guard, and probably only need to move it about an inch or so, and they should be able to get there to this end. So Bobby coming down to throw this rock. It'll be the last rock of this end, and a chance to take a 2-point lead. So here comes the throw. Nice clean release by Bobby. Brendan's on it. It's always a good sign when sweepers take to it early and keep a close eye. Still has a ways to curl. Looks like he's trying to sweep on the inside to make it move over. If you can just get it there with a little speed to move it out. Nope, just a bit wide. So we're taking an extra look at it. Not quite sure who's shot, but it does look like blue. But we might be going for a measure here. They found the device, so it looks like we are going to measure. So wait and see who gets the shot this end. Should mention while we have this time that the team of Aitkens and Andrews are coached by Greg Drummond. Greg Drummond is someone who is quite known actually to many curlers. He's curled at the Olympics, he's curled at World Championships, and he's had quite a successful career. He just stepped away this past summer from playing competitively, and now he's focusing on curling, and not just with mixed doubles, but with some of the other teams as well. So a great career change, and we really look forward to seeing what he produces. But so far, from the results we've seen from the different Scottish and English teams, especially mixed doubles, we're seeing a lot of great talent and great championships coming out of there. So great job by Greg, and hopefully later this week when he's not playing or coaching, we'll be able to get him on air here to have a little chat and find out what's new and how he's enjoying the coaching. Looks like the measuring's over. And by the look of things, blue will have stolen 1. So Aitkens and Andrews will go up 2-1, and we'll throw the first stone. Well, that's the second mistake. In fact, Sauder and Bottcher, yellow is closer, so they'll take the 2-1 lead. And obviously we can also tell by the placement of the rocks in the house. The team with last rock always places it in the house, so that also gives us an indication that Sauder and Bottcher scored a point. So 2-1, Sauder and Bottcher. A lot of rocks in play, a lot of good shooting, and look forward to this midway point end to see what happens. Bobby's got a really good rock coming in here. You see by the angle of it, it's got good speed and really great line tracking right onto the button here. Let's see if Brendan can get it there. Top button, slightly out the other side. Again, just showing how much curl there is out here, giving the players lots of opportunity to make some great shots and get behind the guards. Looks like Gina's got a great response to Bobby's shot. She's right on top, just slightly off center, but in a great position. Top four with both rocks behind the hog tee line, basically acting as backing for those. So a couple really good shots early on is setting up an exciting end for us here. Looks like Brendan's going to try and draw around and get a corner freeze on that top blue one to get better advantage of rock placement. Again, you can see to get right over to corner blue, which is basically center line. They're taking ice right out on edge of 12, so we're getting a really good, almost 6 feet curl here today, which is exciting for the players, and the rock speed seems quite fast. The rocks are gliding and finishing nicely. Here comes Brendan. He seems a little bit light, but still a usable rock up front, something they can play back in. After a really nice throw by Scott Andrews to get another one in play in the top of the house, Bottcher and Sauder needing to throw some weight and remove a guard in order to clear it up so that they've got a chance to get at these rocks and not let a big end build up on them. So we have Andrews trying to throw a nice drawdown in here and make it really problematic for Bottcher and Sauder. Looks like they're playing a little bit of a tap on this top blue and to jiggle things around and hopefully release the back yellow one from the blue. Should give them a chance to get a bundle here if they can get another miss out of Bottcher and Sauder. That's really well lined up for them. Just looking over on sheet 4, Parker Moscovy were able to steal 3 in the third end and take a commanding 7-1 lead going into the fourth end. When we take a look over onto sheet 2, Ashton and Crudo, they after taking 2 in the first end, Walker and Walker came right back with 2 in the second and stole 1 in the third. So playing the fourth end, Walker up 3-2 in that game. And looking over to our match on sheet 1, where we have the local team of Sarna and Graham and the bronze medalists Norwegian team. There's a tremendous battle going on. Graham The local team, Sauder and Graham, managed to steal a point in the second end to go up 2-0, and the Norwegians responded with 1 in the third. So we have a 2-1 game with the local Canmore team taking an early lead in this one and creating a bit of a scare in the Norwegian team. Of interesting note, when I look to my left, the bleachers in front of that game is absolutely packed. Many of the friends and family from Canmore have come over to watch this game. Great to see, and they're loud and they're dressed up, and just great excitement. Looks like Bottcher's doing an in-off to try and get rid of not just that blue, but to get into the other blues and maybe get them sitting in. And what a great shot. Just got to go a little more, and oh, just at the end it spun back a bit. So it does leave it exposed for Aitkens and Andrews to get in and move it and get another rock into the button area, and sit would be 2 unless they can rub that yellow one a little bit and move it out. But certainly blue a little bit of an advantage here. Watching that shot of Bottcher takes me back to last year in the provincial finals, men's finals, when he made a tremendous in-off on an outside rock of the rings to come into the button and remove one of Sturmay's rocks. And it was, I think, a pivotal point in that game last year. Eventually led to Bottcher, their team winning the provincial final and going on to the Brier, where, of course, they finished silver medalist second in that Brier, a tremendous showing. And of course that's coming up for his team this year, but not before they come out to Banff again for the TSN Skins game. That'll be happening here in Banff at the very beginning of February, and Bottcher is one of the teams that was selected to come and play in that. So this will be certainly a good warm-up for him, and coming back to Banff later on to compete in that. Oh, Andrews in that little up weight, it just floated out and never came back, leaving Bottcher and Sauder a great opportunity here to get one locked in there and set up a steal and put a rock really in a place that I don't know if Aitkens and Andrew can even get rid of it. There's so much backing and sideways protection for it. So we'll see where it ends up, but a real big turn of events in this end with that miss. Here it comes. Bobby's let it go, and Brendan was on it right away. The weight does look good. Starting to come now. Starting to come really nice. It's tracking really nicely. Needs to come just a little more. Here it comes, and the weight is perfect. What an absolute bullet right in there by Bobby. This will make it extremely difficult for them to get this out and score their one, but it is exposed, and the delicate shot, they can just move that back enough that they should be able to sit there and score their one, but there's not much room to get by that top yellow and make a clean push on the shot rock. When you look really close, though, at the rock in the house, you can see that potentially with a heavyweight shot, just clipping that top yellow one, then hitting the one on the button, it might poke through and knock all the yellows out. There is actually an outside shot here for 4. If you can hit this one absolutely correctly, Gina, with heavy weight, I think she can get to them all and make everything move and sit 4. So she's let it go. It's coming down. Needs to just graze that top yellow one. He's on it. It's on off, which is a great symbol for the Scots. Oh, it just didn't quite catch the top yellow one, but still a great shot by Gina to remove the 2 and score 2. Outside chance for 4, but an absolutely great shot by Gina Aitkens, and sets the Scottish duo up for 2 points and then lead at the halfway point of our game. So 3-2. Aitkens and Andrews over Bottcher and Sauder as we head into the second half of our game. Now we're just going to take a moment to once again thank all the sponsors who've helped make this event happen. Qualico, our major sponsor, Malcolm Hotel, Vision Electronics, Bow Valley Credit Union, our bronze sponsors, and then a number of our other sponsors that have contributed in many different ways to make this event happen, and we're really thankful to see such great support from the curling world as well as from our local communities in Banff and Canmore. I don't know if you can hear it. Near standing ovation happening over on sheet 1, where Sarna and Graham just made a raised double takeout to sit 3 with their last stone, and sending the crowd crazy. In fact, I shouldn't say last stone. Each team has one more stone, but the Norwegians have a very tough shot to try and draw in and cement it on top of something so that they can limit the damage. But a big end building for Sarna and Graham, but an out here for the Norwegians if they can come around and lock one on. We'll give you more on that game as it unfolds here in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Meanwhile, back in our game, last rock belongs to Sauder and Bottcher. They've got 2 in position. The starting rock behind the tee line and 1 just up in the top 8. And Aitkens is trying to draw around and freeze on that back 4 rock. We'll see where it ends up. It's got a really good shot coming. He's around the top guard. He's around the rock in the house, and really nice shot. So Brendan's going to try and follow this one down. Ideal would be if he could move it maybe an inch and just sit frozen. Of course, eventually he'd have to move it further if he wants to score more than 1, but it seems to be staying out. Here it comes a little bit, but it seems to be staying out, but his weight looks to be really good. He's trying to bring it over, and there it is. Just moved it an inch and sat corner frozen on it. So really good shot there to sit 1. Looks like Aitkens and Andrews are going to try and just come down and sit on top, and if they end up giving the 1, that's not a problem, but lots more rocks to play in this end. Okay. So great shot by Andrews there. Putting the Scots in a great position. I think Bottcher and Sauder can get to the inside of that and unlock it to set something up for later in the end, because certainly that yellow will go back on the back blue and move it off and squeeze the blue into the open and sit back. So looks like he is going to play the hit and try and get rid of both blues, because he's got a lot of yellows in the house. And if he loses a yellow, he'll be sitting good as we get late in the end. There's only one more rock left for Aitkens and Andrews, and this is the second last shot for Bottcher and Sauder. So rock's underway. There are no sweepers. It'll do what it does. Looks like it's staying out a little more than they would want. It's still a good result in terms of unlocking everything and leaving them shot rocks. So with Aitkens and Andrews' last rock, they have a chance to come down and sit shot on this, or at least block it off from being able to get two. And it looks like that's what they're going to play, is a draw right down on top of that yellow one. And so two, the only thing they don't want to do is come up a bit light and leave an easy double for three. So they have to be a bit careful in this shot that they don't leave that staggered rocks in the house that can be hit out. So the last rock for Aitkens and Andrews is underway. Cleanly released, and Andrews is right on it, sweeping it. He's never been off it. He's taking it hard all the way down. Looks like a really good shot. Just a tremendous sweep there. Great sweep. It's hard to see who's shot. Both seem to be covering the pin, but I think the situation we have here is if Bobby can throw one into the middle of those two blues, hitting mostly the blue on the outside, she should be able to remove them both and probably score two. Likely will lose the back yellow one, but should be able to squeeze the top blue one out far enough to bring the top yellow into play and get their deuce. We'll see what they end up throwing here. It'll take a little bit of white. It seems to be, based on where the broom is placed, that the shot will be to go straight down on the blue rock that's on the outside there, and pop the other one over off the center line and hopefully get their deuce. Papers. Well, I think there's one that was scored there. Just waiting to see who got it. It looked like it was blue, but we'll see in a moment based on the placement of the rocks. Oh, one for yellow. So nice shot by Bobby to do that. And here we go. We're going to get a power play. Our first one in this game. It tends to happen in the latter part. It's only when you have last rock that you're able to call the power play. And instead of setting the rocks up on the center line, they're set up on the side of the house, basically with the rock in the house, the back of the rock being on the tee line and the guard being placed out in front. There are markers put out, 3-point 7 inches from the center line is the actual spot of the loonie that's used to give them guidance. And we'll see a lot of play out to the side. It's an exciting addition not too long ago to the game, this power play, and it's really brought an exciting element to it. You'll see you'll see a lot of rocks in play here, but it does leave the center open so that the team with last rock has an easier chance to get out of the end if they get into trouble. So we saw this a lot with the power play where you come down and move off the guard and roll yourself in to give you the advantage. So we did get the question. It's a good question with that rock rolling out. Our people didn't think you were allowed to take rocks out, and in fact, the rock wasn't taken out. The thrown rock is the one that rolled out, so that's allowed. It's just a rock that was placed, wouldn't be allowed to be taken out. So, an excellent shot there by Bobby to move hers out of play while putting one into the house. And here's an excellent shot by Brendan to get down almost on top and take advantage in this end. So looks like Gina is calling for Scott to throw up a guard. And you can just see by where she's placing the broom how much curl we're getting out here. So shots underway, and let's see if Scott can replace that original guard and give them something to work with into the latter part of this end. Really good throw there. Didn't quite come over as much as they want. Bottcher can get at it from the outside, but anytime you get out that far, the ice is not very tested, but it's throwing a bit of weight, so it should run fairly true. They're going to try and come down and pick this blue one out, and then their yellow will be partially under guard, but it's also on top of the house, so it'll be harder for Aitkens and Andrews to take advantage of that. Just peeking over to sheet 4, we can see that Tran and nice shot there. They successfully removed that blue, and that's what they wanted to do. Tran and Peterman took 1 in the 4th and then managed to steal 2 in the 5th. So they brought that game back. So it's 7-4 for Park Moscovy, and they have the hammer. But certainly Tran and Peterman have had a bit of a run the last 2 ends. Looking over at our sheet 1, where the local Canmore team is giving the Norwegian team, the bronze medalists in the Olympics, a run. The bronze medalists managed to steal 1. So after 4, we're all tied there. And the same thing in sheet 2. Ashton Crudo managed to take their 1 in the 4th to tie it up, and Walker have come back and taken 1 in the 5th to take back the lead. So heading into the 6th in that game, Walker up 1, and Ashton Crudo have called a power play. So we'll watch how that unfolds. A couple of really close games on our sheet 1 and sheet 2. Well, a great shot when Aitkens and Andrews came up a bit short on their draw. It leaves a chance for Bottcher to come around and try and get close to the button, which he's done here. So sitting in a good spot. And I've just been joined by Kevin Beauchamp. He is the ice maker in Crestwood in Edmonton, and he's come up to join Darren Moulding, and the two of them are assisting the ice makers in Banff and Canmore to make sure we've got tremendous ice for the players. Up late night last night, Kevin?
We had a little bit of a late night last night, just trying to get everything honed down and trying to get things close to where we want it. And I think we had a good night's work and really happy with the product so far.
That's great. We've been watching this sheet, and they've been basically to get to the button, they've been holding it maybe an inch or two inside the outside 12 foot. So that would suggest we're getting more than 5.5 feet of curl. Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, that's kind of what we were looking for to start. Obviously, we textured the rocks, and right off the bat, you're expecting a little bit more curl. So probably around the 5.5 to 6 foot mark is what we're aiming for.
That's great. Just a quick comment there. A great double takeout by Andrews, and a nice roll behind the guard. So Bottcher and Sauder are sitting one, but have to be careful here because there's a couple of blues in the house and a chance to get at that yellow with a bit of a heavy tap back. Kevin, how's the speed out there? Obviously, I've been timing, but it seems to be gliding really well and finishing with that glide. Are you happy with the speed, and what are we getting for ice times?
Yeah, I think the surface is looking really good right now. Maybe at practice it starts at about 13 seconds, and right now seeing about 14 from a hog-to-hog time to get to the tee line there. So not too bad. Maybe if we can get it up a hair faster than that, that would be ideal, but it's pretty good speed so far.
Great. So you've been happy with the air temperatures, you've been happy with the ice temperatures. Everything you're seeing so far is exactly where you see it through the progression as we get into our first draw here and kick off the weekend.
Yeah, I think we're pretty close to it right now. We're just learning a little bit more about the variables here, like the air temperature, the ice temperature, seeing what the rocks are doing. So the other goal too is to try and get the ice similar to what we're seeing out in Canmore as well too. So Darren and I are just talking amongst each other and just discussing what each rink's doing and trying to get it as close as we can.
I guess that's an added element most places don't have. They might have 6 or 8 sheets, but they're all in the same building and exposed to the same elements, whereas here we've got about 28 kilometers apart and different structures, different buildings, different ages. But from what I'm hearing over in Canmore and what we've seen here in Banff, ice sheets are running nice and getting lots of great curls. So far you've done a great job. I want you to take a moment and give a little shout out to your home club. Crestwood's been a great member of Curling Alberta. They've been a great host of many Bonspiels, of provincial playdowns, and have also produced a lot of great curlers, and certainly your ice is a piece of that. But anything you want to say about Crestwood or just anybody there?
Yeah, just anyone that's watching right now, I'd like to give a shout out to everyone at the Crestwood Curling Club. Like to say hi, and just a great place, a good club, lots of great people there, and a great place to make ice. We have lots of things that we need in order to put out a good product and lots of opportunities. We're very busy with lots of leagues and lots of Bonspiels, so it gives us ice makers lots of opportunities to put our best foot forward and have a great product.
And who better to know that than you, Kevin, because you do it every day. Great club, great ice, and I really thank you for coming on. Kevin, hopefully we'll have you back on as the draw goes on here, 2, 3, and 4, and get some of your more thoughts and seeing if it's still reacting the way you want. So thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen, for having me.
That was Now, just as we head into the seventh end, the last 2 ends, just a quick thank you once again to all of our sponsors. As we said, our major sponsor, Qualico, our bronze sponsors, the Malcolm Hotel, in Canmore, Visions Electronics, Bow Valley Credit Union, and many of the other sponsors, both in the world of curling and in our local community, have stepped up to make this a great event that's attracted a world-class field. So thank you very much to all our sponsors. Well, Sauder and Bottcher, through Kevin's interview, managed to pull together a great end there and steal the one. And of course, as we all know, if you can score in 6, you get to score in 6 and 8, 2 scores to 1. The other team can only score in 7, or obviously if they steal, get another chance to score. But certainly puts a bit of an advantage back to Sauder and Bottcher, up 1 now with 2 ends to play. And a great shot there by Bobby right on top of the back blue. And it is behind the tee line, so it does give Aitkens and Andrews a chance to get on top of it and get some control, but a really nice throw. Bobby has been throwing great all game, as has Brendan. It's been a really good game to watch and a lot of high quality shots that are being made here, and look forward to an exciting finish. All right, so here we are. Andrews is in the house, edge of 12, looking to draw one in again. Get another rock in the house on top of the ones that are there behind the tee line and give themselves some great positioning to hopefully later in the end jiggle them around and get a few. Take back control of the game. Andrews is sweeping hard again, starting to curl. Weight looks good though. Looks like they really like this shot. It's around all the guards. Really nice shot. Just moving the yellow one back. Yellow's still second shot, but in an easy position to be removed with a little bit of a tap on the blue. So blue's certainly setting up a nice end, but yellow, Brendan has a chance to come down on top of that again, and even get the shot rock if he can move it just 2 inches and sit right on top. No sweeping yet, which would make you think it might be a bit heavy, but here he goes now. It's starting to come over. He's trying to sweep it over. Just didn't come over for him. Not sure if he got that one out a little bit or if the extra weight didn't help. Certainly Andrews swept his rock most of the way down. So maybe he got a little more curl out of that, not just from the directional sweeping, but also from the fact that the lighter weight allowed it to curl more. Looks like Gene has called Scott down to take a look at the situation so he can make a good play on this, because they are sitting with a bit of an advantage if they can continue to get their rock in better spot. Looks like they see a bit of a chance here, Bottcher and Sauder, to come down and at least remove one of those blues through and give themselves a pretty good advantage on both angles. So Brendan threw it a little heavy, and he's right on it. He is tight here in his line, but it's coming nicely. If he can just hold it there. Looks like he's by from this angle. Looks like he's got a great shot coming in here. Just rubbed the back of the guard, but kept itself going in the same straight. And look at that. What curl did we have there? It even rubbed the back of the guard and still over curled. So we've got 2 shots left for Bottcher and Sauder, and 3 for Aitkens and Andrews. And Andrews and Aitkens are sitting with a really good chance here to come down and sit 3 and really put Bottcher and Sauder in a bit of a predicament with all those blockers in behind the tee line. Here it comes. Scott's sweeping really hard to get it by, and he just rubbed off the yellow one. He had a great shot coming in there, but it was just tight on the line. And that's going to give Bottcher and Sauder a bit of an opening. They can come that same turn, and with the curl they have and a little speed, they can get to those and maybe not get shot, but really cap off and hold Aitkens and Andrews where they were looking to be building up a bit of a strong end. So here we go. They're just discussing this shot, fine-tuning it. As we said, a bit of an opening here with the rub of the guard and a chance to come right down to these. So Bobby's setting the house. Here she goes back and rocks out. Clean release. Brendan's on it quick though. Still going quick. It's got to go hard to get it by that top guard. It's got to go hard. Got to go hard. Just over curled. Seems like that side might be giving both teams a bit of a trouble in terms of the amount of curl that's coming out. So advantage back to Aitkens and Andrews with only 1 shot left for Sauder and Bottcher, 2 for Aitkens and Andrews, and the Scottish team is sitting 2. A chance to put a rock in great shape here, make it really difficult for Sauder and Bottcher to even hold them to 1 and maybe even 2. So let's see what they decide to do. Just a quick update from sheet 2 where Walker and Walker after 5 were leading by 1. Ashton and Cruto did a power play in the 6th and managed to get 2 points. So after the pivotal 6th, and Ashton and Cruton are up on Walker and Walker 5-4, and Walker and Walker have implemented the power play of their own and are trying to take advantage of that to get themselves into a better position heading into the 8th end. Over on sheet 1, we're just waiting for them to post the 6th score, but the Norwegians are up by 1 after 5. And in the 4th sheet with Tran and Peterman and Park and Moskery, lots of scores going on. Parker Moskery took 2 and 6 to go up 9-4, but Peterman and Tran came right back with 2 of their own in 7. So down 9-6, but in this game anything can happen, and you can certainly score 3 or 4 in the last end. So we look for an exciting finish over there in a wild scoring game. Back to our game here. It looks like it's only going to be 2, but still 2 is a great score to give them the 1-point lead going into the last end. So 2 for the Scots, and fortunate break there for Sauder and Bottcher that they didn't give up 3 on that last shot. So as we get into this 8th end of our feature match today, looks like a power play is being called. Just a little bit about Scott Andrews. He's played in World Championships in 2011, 12, and 13. And in 11 and 12, in both of those World Championships, they lost in the finals to Canada, claiming silver in both those years. And in 2013, the 3rd time he went, they won bronze medal. At Sochi in 2014, he was a member of the Great Britain curling men's team that competed there and won silver there, losing to Canada in the final gold medal game. So a little bit about Scott Aitkens, and of course he did play, has played a lot for Great Britain in the men's teams, and it's great to see him out here now doing the mixed double and teaming up with Gina Aitkens, who he said used to play with Bruce Mowat. And has been a very successful mixed doubles curler over the last number of years. In fact, this year when she won the teamed up to win the Scottish mixed doubles championship, it was the 5th title that she has claimed in this discipline in curling. So a tremendous mixed doubles curler, and it's great to have her here at our event. So as we said, the power play has been called by Bottcher and Sauder here. Down 1, as we say, just waiting for them to post that score, but we're pretty confident that there was 2 there for blue. And let's see how they react to this. The center guard was put up by Aitkens and Andrews to counteract this power play, and look forward to seeing what Bottcher and Sauder do. Looks like they'll probably elect to draw around that center guard, and the play will move back towards the center line. Well, it looks like they're employing the strategy that's used sometimes in the regular game of drawing out to the wings in an effort to be able to remove the center line guard later on and create some offense for them by putting some rocks in rings, giving them an advantage. So it looks like Aitkens and Andrews, being the 8th end, whether you give up 1 or 7, it doesn't matter. They're going to play around their center line guard and continue to push the play to the center and continue to try and steal and use offense as their greatest weapon in this end to, if not steal, hold the team of Bottcher and Sauder to only 1. It's a really good throw, though. Here they go. They've got the center line guard. They've got 2 of them now, a high one and a front one. So they're certainly setting up that center line for them to play around. It'll be hard now to get rid of all the center guards, but it looks like that's what they're going to do. They're going to peel this one away to try and open the house up. So at least Bottcher and Sauder will have a chance to draw the pin for their 1 point in the tie, but certainly they're hoping to do more this end and take that win away. So really good shot there. Peel the center line guard. It looks like Aitkens and Andrew are going to try and replace it. They certainly want to keep the play up in the center. They've kind of made that commitment when they ignored the rock of Bottcher and Sauder that's been played out to the wings. So Bottcher and Sauder have the 2 they need to pull off the victory, but Aitkens and Andrews are certainly going to try and clutter up this center and create some opportunity to make it tough on them and get that extra point. Well, so they've come around that center line guard. It'll be interesting to see, do they, Bottcher and Sauder, play the double, or do they draw down on top of that? So really good strategy here with Aitkens and Andrews, and well coached, and also a team that's very adept to the game of mixed doubles. So good to watch how they strategize in these ends, and we can certainly learn a lot from their play. Well, a great shot there. Certainly to peel the two rocks out, and certainly one jammed on the back right one, but it shouldn't come into play. They're still sitting, Sauder and Bottcher, one in behind cover, so a great position for them. We'll see now what Aitkens and Andrews are going to choose to throw. So here comes the shot by Andrews. Looks like they're drawing down to freeze to that yellow. If they can make this shot, they'll essentially eliminate that yellow rock. Seems to be a bit heavy, and I don't know that it's going to come over and even make contact. Seems like it's just going to glide right by. No, made a little bit of a bump and does sit shot rock. Did put the Sauder Bottcher rock very much into a well-guarded position. As you saw with that rock they just threw, still accessible to Aitkens and Andrew. It looks like they're going to play it though, just so that they can sit two again. Should make a lot of sense. Again, we've got Sauder and Bottcher trying to set up the deuce, and we got Aitkens and Andrews trying to force him to a single here, or if better, make the steal happen. So looks like we've got the hit coming down here. He does want to stick around, give him a chance to sit two. He's on it hard. Now he's off. Seems to be curling. Not sure if he'll curl enough to stick around. The primary objective was met. They removed that rock, and they do sit one. It is buried, but it will give Aitkens and Andrews a chance to repeat the shot they just threw, and to take away the advantage that Bottcher and Sauder had. On sheet 4, the game has just been completed. Our final score there, they ran them out of rocks in the 8th end, so it ends up being a 9-6 score, with Park and Moscow beginning the tournament with a win over Tran and Peterman. But both teams played very well, lots of great throws and rocks, and a great start for the tournament for Park and Moscow, who I know have come here to hopefully win a championships, as all of our competitors have. So here we come with Aitkens and Andrews about to throw down. Again, trying to repeat the shot they attempted last time, just a little more curl, a little less weight. Well, Andrews is on it quick. He's trying to make it curl with his sweeping. Weight does look really good. Does have to go a bit, I think, though. And here it comes. It's really starting to come over. They need it to get over. They need it to come further. They want to get it in for shot rock. They want to get it in for shot rock. And Jean Aitkens has just thrown a tremendous shot. It would appear from above that she succeeded in doing that. Still leaves a bit of a chance that Sauder and Bottcher can throw down and just tap it a little and roll into the middle and possibly score their deuce. So they're not electing to just draw the open button and to score their one. They're going to go after the win. Looks like they're going to come down, and they don't have to move it too far, and they don't have to hit much of it in order to get it out into third shot, and they've got the whole house to roll across, so they do have a room here to make the shot and to take this game with 2 points. So tremendous response by Aiken and Andrew to put the rock where they did, but there's still a chance here, and we'll look forward to seeing what happens. Now looking over to sheet 2, where Ashton and Cruto, after 6 ends, had taken a 1-point lead on Walker and Walker, the favorites in that event, and in the 7th end, Walker and their power play managed to score 5. They have now taken a commanding 9-5 lead, playing the 8th end. A really close game up to that 7th end, and looks like Walker are going to get their first victory in this opening game, but not without a scare from Ashton and Cruto. Here it comes. Bobby's got a really good shot coming down. Don't know if she has to wait, though. Looks like she doesn't. It's just over curled and underthrown. But a great game played by Sauder and Bottcher, and Aitkens and Andrews will steal one more point, and they'll win this game 6-4. Some great curling and great last shot by Aitkens. Tremendous last shot, and Bobby just couldn't respond to it, but she played a really good game all the way through. So a great game in our first opening feature match here in Banff. If you just want to stick around for a little bit, we're going to do a few interviews with players here and just get their sense of the opening draw and how the ice is playing. I just remind everyone, you can go to mountaincurling.com and Curling Zone for official scores and updates. And we certainly are going to be back at 4:30 with our next game. But if you do want to stick around, we're going to do a couple of quick interviews here before our players get away from us. So the final score in our game was 6-4 for the Scottish team of Aiken and Andrews, and I'm pleased to have Gina Aitkens join us here. We did talk a bit about you during the broadcast, Gina. Your long tenure in the sport of mixed doubles curling,
Yes.
your 5 Scottish championships, and you used to play with Bruce Mowat. So what drew you to the game of mixed curling, and what do you find the differences between that and the regular game you used to play?
I think at first the reason I started to play mixed doubles a lot was just because we just loved curling, so we just decided to play it, and it was another discipline, another chance to play, and I just loved it. It's a much more aggressive game, and it's much quicker, and everything about that suits the way I play, and it's almost shaped the way I played sort of 4-person curling as well. So yeah, it's been great. I think to develop my curling, it's such a touch game as well. It's really good.
Well, it was great to watch you out there and see the strategies and just the discipline in the throws that you made. Really good curling. How are you finding the ice? Did you find it curled what you expected? Was the speed good? Some comments on the conditions you were out there with.
The ice was great. There was plenty curl. We got lots of it, and it was a good speed as well, and stayed pretty consistent throughout the whole game, which is really nice. So yeah, totally. Thanks to the ice makers, that was great.
Great. Did you find you figured it out fairly quickly and you could use that as an advantage?
Yeah, I think it just takes a bit of getting used to. We've had a couple of practice sessions here before the tournament, so that always helps as well. But yeah, once you get it figured out and you can start to really know how to make the shots by your throw and the ice you give. So.
Well, you played against Bottcher and Sauder. Both are good curlers, and
Yep.
Sauder in her own right, and Bottcher, who's had a great last couple of years. So that must
Yeah.
be a great start to the event to get that one under your belt and get a good start.
Yeah, we knew that was going to be a tough game. We know that they're both great curlers, and we were going to have to play our best game to beat them, and we've played well, and it was a close one. So, yeah, it's a great way to start.
Wonderful. I thank you for taking the time, Gina. Good luck in the rest of the event, and hopefully we'll get you back on later to talk to some of the people out there and tell us more about curling and the like. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was Jean Aiken of the team Aitkens and Andrews, just giving us some of her insights into her curling, but also the game that they played and the conditions out here. If you can just hang on for another minute, we're going to have another interview with Park and Moscowy to give us some of their thoughts on their game. So if you can hang on just a few minutes, we'll have them over here shortly. There's no TV. So, as we promised, we have Kaylin Park here from the Park and Moscowy team. They just finished playing on sheet 4. So maybe a little bit about your game. We did comment throughout. A lot of rocks in play, a lot of high scores in the end. How did you find the ice played? How did you find the conditions?
Yeah, it was really good. Like, we were pretty on top of the ice conditions, I would say, and we had really good draw weight, so that's how we got our big ends. It was good. Yeah.
Excellent. And you're no stranger to mixed doubles. You've been playing it. You played with different partners, but you were just down in Omaha with John Morrison playing in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Second leg. Tell us a little bit about that and that experience.
Yeah, so I've actually only really had one mixed doubles partner. Charlie Thomas and I played for 8 years, basically, together. So this is my first year trying with a new partner. And so John was the first one I played with, other than Charlie, really my only other experience with anyone else. So it's pretty cool to play with an Olympic gold medalist. Yeah.
That's exciting. And that type of event, I think that's a great event, the World Cup, and something that we'll see around.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was very cool. It's a different concept, so I'm sure it'll get bigger as the years go on. Yeah.
Excellent. So this event, it's great to have you here. We've got some great teams. You're obviously, one of the ones that people are looking out for. A strong team, I think most people feel. Feel good to have your first win under your belt, and you feel good for the week?
Yeah, winning your first game and playing well in your first game is obviously huge when it comes to building confidence throughout the week. So I think that getting off on the right start there was huge for us, especially as that's our first time on the ice together. So it was good to do that for sure.
It looked that way. You all looked relaxed out there and very calm. So
yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
It's either that or we're good at acting. One of the two. Yeah.
Well, look, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get you back. Congratulations
Yeah.
on your opening win, and we wish you the best of luck throughout the rest of the tournament.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, we have all of our games over now. Norway came back strong and were able to win their game, and Walker and Walker held on to win their game. So all the favorites actually pulling through, although none of the games were really determined until very late in them. So some really good curling, and really excited about our first draw. We ask you to come and join us. We're back here in Banff at 4:30 with our next game, and it will feature Perot and Rios, who are the defending silver medalists in the Olympics, and they also play quite a bit of mixed curling, had a lot of great results, and they'll be playing against Kirsten Silcox and Jason Kierick, who are from Cochrane. So please join us at 4:30, and we look forward to having you back. All the best.